Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another makeup diaries where I'm gonna be sharing with you 7 different looks that I've worn in the span of 7 different days and maybe give you a little bit of inspiration on what you can wear, what you can pair together. So I really hope you're gonna like these looks. Please vote down below in the comment section which look was your favorite, and I would really appreciate if you could like this video and subscribe. I do upload every single day, and apart from makeup diaries, which are uploaded around every single week, I also do a lot of duping, makeup news, occasional reviews, and a lot of panning content. So I would really appreciate having you here. And now let's get right into this video. So I always start with my brows, and for that I'm using my autumnal BYOP because I have this shade called Nowhere, which is in my Pendos palette, and it's from the Christmas Eve palette from Odin's Eye, and then this shade, which is called Losers Club from Shroud Cosmetics Halloween palette. And I have this Maybelline Super Look Brow Glue to set my brows in place. As an eyeshadow primer, I'm currently trying to pen this Catrice Grip the Last Eyeshadow Primer. And then I have two palettes on my eyes. So one of them is the Cosmic Beauty Muse palette that I'm trying to nope and left behind. And I kind of used all the purple shades. So I have Petal as the main crease shade. I have Sweet Pea in the inner part of the crease. And then I have Fig, this one, in the outer part. So those are the matte shades. I'm wearing the Cleo Not Shine On Shimmer Primer for the shimmer shades. And for those, I've used my Nomad Cosmetics Fairy Tale Europe palette that I'm also trying to nope and left behind. And it's also my Project 20 Uses palette. And I've used these two pink shimmer shades. So I have Fairy Godmother, I think that's how it's called. Yeah, in the second half of the lid. And then Cinderella, this one in the first half of the lid. And in my inner corner, I went back to the Muse palette, and I'm wearing the shade Luster. This one, which is a beautiful inner corner. And I do have a good dip on it, so maybe I'm gonna hit pan on it at some point in the future. Then I have the Summoner liner in the shade 11, which is a white shade. And I have that in my waterline. I've been using that a lot lately because, again, I'm panning that. That's kind of the whole premise of this entire look. Then I have my Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10. Again, trying to pan it. For blush, I'm using the Revolution Fast Beige Blush in the shade Peach. Again, trying to pan it. I'm very close to that. I probably still have like a good month of use, but I do have month to like splurge on that, so it's fine. And then I have this mascara from Catrice. This is the Glam and Dull Volume Mascara that I'm currently panning. Or I always only have one mascara open, so it's not really panning, it's just using one mascara. Then I have the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette from Beauty Bay. Really smart. So I have this shade and this shade. I'm mixing those two for my highlight, and I think it's a really nice highlighter shade. And then I have the Maybelline Superstay Vanilla Ink lipstick in the shade 15, which is called Peach, or Peachy, and that's on my lips. Again, another product that I'm currently panning, and it's just like a very simple pinky purple look. I didn't have much time, and I just wanted to use a couple of shades that I was working on for my nope and left behind. So that's kind of what's on my face. And now let's get into all the other looks. Hi guys, so here's another everyday makeup look, and today it's actually really simple because I wanted to use a couple more shades from the R.E.M. Wicked Ocean Forest palette because I wanted to nope and left behind this one. So this one is a little bit more neutral, but I just wanted to test the other shades just to make sure that I actually like it. And now I'm gonna start with brows because that's what I always use. So I've mixed the shade Nowhere from the Christmas Eve palette from Odin's Eye and the shade Losers Club from the Shroud Cosmetics and Betty Bean collab, which is called Hello Bean. And I have this Super Lock Brow Glue from Maybelline as always. Then I'm using this Catrice Grip the Last Eyeshadow Primer. And then my all the eyeshadows, so They're all from this palette. And I'm using these two browns in the crease. Like this one is the main crease shade, and then this one is to deepen it up in the outer corner. And then I have this one to kind of blend everything out into the brow bone and into the crease. So these three very neutral options. And then I have the Clay On Nut Shine On Shimmer Primer. And I've used, oh, and I forgot to tell you which shades those are, like their names. So this one is called Confusifying, and this is the Grimmery, and this is Kiamako. I still don't remember if it's actually pronounced that way. And the shimmers that I have on my lids. So in the outer corner, I have this shade, which is called Land of Oz. Then in the center, I have this one, which is called All Roads Lead to the Wizard. And I have this kind of silvery one in the inner corner. This one is called Austeeny. And I'm mixing that, or like I layered this shade over, which is called Oh Oz, just to make it a little bit lighter because it seemed too gray toned and like too dark for me. So these are the shades. They were so nice to blend. The shimmers look quite nice. And it was like really seamless, quick application. So I think the formula is amazing. I wouldn't probably wear a look like this, but I wouldn't mind mixing these neutrals with the greens. So yeah, I don't mind them with the greens. I'm just not gonna use them like this, just as a neutral shade, because I don't wear neutrals like that. But if you like neutrals, I would highly recommend, like it's a great formula. Then on my eyes, so I have the Solmon eyeliner in the shade 011 from Woodens Eye. I have my Catrice Glam and Doll Volume Mascara. Then I have my Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade number 10. I have the Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peach. And as a face highlighter, I'm actually using this Elements of Evil palette from Sugar Tristle and the shade Pickled Eyeballs. It's such a great shade. It's a very like peachy shade, very sparkly, very beautiful. And I wanted to use this palette at least a little bit today. And then my lips, that is the last step. I have the Maybelline Vanilla Ink lipstick, and this one is in the shade 15, which is called Peachy. I'm trying to use this one up, so I've been using it kind of on a daily, almost. And that's the entire look, so let me know what you think about this one. And now let's get into the next one. Hey guys, so here's another daily makeup look, and today I've actually used all of my Pendus eyeshadows that are in my current rotation. So go check out my latest Pendus eyeshadows update if you want to see what was my latest, what was the previous color story. And today, so the brows are the same. So the shade Nowhere from Christmas Eve and the shade Loser's Club from the Shroud Hello Beam palette. Then I have the Super Lock Brow Glue from Maybelline. I have my Catrice Crypto Last Eyeshadow Primer. And then the eyeshadow. So the only matte shade that I've had in my rotation is the Cosmic Beauty Undergrowth palette and the shade Needle. So it's this shade. And I just created this kind of, it looks very like space themed in my opinion, kind of shape, and I love this look. I think it's really fun. It was super quick to do. I don't actually have too much time today, and I feel like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna recreate this look a couple of times, maybe with different shimmers, but like the same base shape and color. and that way I can hit a pan quite soon, I think. And then the shimmer. So since most of my lid still had the primer from Catrice, I decided not to use shimmer primer because the Catrice one is quite nice for both shimmers and mattes. So the other shades I'm using is the Lord of the Rings collab with Glamlight, and this palette is called Middle-earth. And I'm using the shade Legolas in the outer half of the lid, so kind of like in this cutout, or like around the green portion. Then the main shade on my lid is a single shade from Touch of Glam Beauty, and it's this one. I have it in my autumnal BYOP right now, and this one is called Creamsicle Hollow. Then in the inner corner, I'm using a shade from Cleonat, because again it was rolled in, and this one is called Luminaire, and it's from the Series 1 Iridescent Multichrome collection. So it's just a white-based multichrome, and it has this like pinky sheen to it. So that one, and then on the lower part of my lid, I have the Adept Cosmetics Aero palette. I'm using the shade Warren Pat. How is it called? Patel? I think that's the name. So this kind of pinky, peachy one. And then I have the Wooden Eye Summoner Gel Liner, the shade 11 in my waterline. And the Catrice Glam and Dull Volume Mascara on my lashes. A concealer that I'm using is the Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10. I have this Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peach. And then my highlighter. So I've actually used this REM Wicked Ozian Forest palette. I've used two shades from this palette. One is this called Confusifying, and that one I just used under my brows just to kind of make sure that the shimmers will not move up. And then I have this shade, which I think is called Oh Oz. And I have that on my cheeks as a highlighter. I just didn't want it to get up, and this palette was right next to me, so that's what I have. And it's beautiful. Like, it's a very soft minty green shade. I felt like it would fit this look quite nicely, and I adore this. I'm definitely gonna recreate this, maybe with different shimmers, or yeah, like different color combinations. But I feel like this could be a really nice everyday type of look, especially if I want to work on some of my darker matte shades. So yeah, let me know what you think about this one, and now let's get into other look. Hey guys, so this is the second look with my Rotten palette from Blend Bunny, and I wanted to do this like a greeny pink kind of look. I don't know, will you see better like this, or is that gonna be worse? I'm not completely sure. So let me walk you through everything that I have on my face. I'm using my autumnal BYOP for these two shades for my brows. So this is Nowhere from Christmas Eve, and this is Loser's Club from Shroud Cosmetics. And I'm using my Super Lock Brow Glue from Maybelline to set my brows in place. Then I have the Catrice Grip the Last Eyeshadow Primer to start my eyeshadow look. Then for the palette, I've used the Rotten palette from Blend Bunny, and I'm using the first column. So I have this shade called Stain in the first half of the crease. Then I have Derma in the outer like crease area, kind of blending out everything, or like, you know, like it's in this area over here. Then I have the shade Velvet, which is in the outer corner and also all over my lower lash line. I have Oxygen in the inner corner, and I also have Ulo. Is that how it's called? I really don't know what that is. And I'm using that as a liner. because there's quite a lot of shades and I don't have that much time to actually film too many looks with this. And then on my lid, I have my Cleonat Shine On Shimmer Primer, and I'm using the Cosmic Beauty Muse palette. And the shade Muse all over the lid, so that's the shade that I'm wearing. It's a really great shade and I'm trying to open up behind this palette. So I kind of combine them. Then I have the Audience Eye Sommelier Liner in the shade number 11 in my waterline, just to match the inner corner. Then I have my Catrice Glam and Dull Volume Mascara. I'm using one of my Cleonat shimmers, like iridescent shades, on the brow bone and also on the lower lash line, and that's the shade Luminaire from Cleonat. As I said, it's the Series 1 Iridescent Multichrome collection. So this is how it looks like. It's a shade that I would like to get more uses out of. Then I have my Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10. Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peach. I have to show you how it looks like. I only have this much left. Like, isn't that so cool? And like, there's actually a little hole in the middle. So I'm getting to the bottom. My face highlighter is the Beauty by Mini Charms palette. And I'm using the shade Aurora, this one. And then on my lips, I have the Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade The Perfect Shade, which is shade number 10. And the Maybelline Vanilla Ink Lipstick in the shade 15, which is shade called Peachy. So that's for this look. Let me come a little bit closer, and I think it's really pretty. It's a very fun look. When I first opened up this palette, I immediately, well, first color stood there, so was this central one, but then I saw this, and I knew that with this I want to use the shade Muse from Cosmic Beauty. Hi guys, so here is the third look with the Blend Bunny and Maybank Rotten palette, and today I've used a couple of shades. So I've started with this one in my brows. Maybe it's a bit too orange for my brows right now, but I just wanted to try it, and I didn't know how else to incorporate it into looks because we still have 2, 4, well, now we have 4 shades left, but they were kind of darker, so I wouldn't be able to use all of them. So that's in my brows together with the Super Lock Brow Glue. Then I have the Catrice Grip to Last eyeshadow primer. And then I've used this entire second column. So I have this shade as like a main crease shade. And I have this one to blend it out into the crease, and I also have it in the inner part of the crease. I have Marrow in the outer corner and on the lower lash line. I also have Spoil all over the lid, and I've used my Catrice Insta Bright Serum Concealer to kind of cut the crease because it's light enough for that. And then I've used my On Top of the World palette from Cleonat, and I'm currently kind of also reviewing for my monthly haul. And I've used Walking on Air as the shimmer shade on the lid. And then I have Cloud 9, this one, in the inner corner. I've also used one shade from the Nomad Cosmetics Fairytale Europe palette just because I thought it will fit, and it's on the lower lash line, and it's this corally shade called Little Mermaid. And then I have, and I don't know if I used that in the B-roll, but I'm using the shade Humid, this one, as a teeny tiny liner, just like kinda. I didn't want to do a big liner today. I've also used my Shine On Shimmer Primer from Cleonat for the shimmer shade on the lid. I have this NYX Epic Wear eyeliner stick in the shade Blue Trip. in my waterline. And I have the Catrice Glam and Dull Volume Mascara on my lashes. I have the Superstay Concealer from Maybelline in the shade 10. And I have the Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peach on my cheeks. And the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette with this shade, which is called Aurora. So I have that as my highlighter. And then on my lips, just like to have something but not really, I have the Maybelline Vanilla Ink lipstick in the shade 15 Peachy. I'm just trying to use it up. So this is the look for today, and I think it's really cute. Hi guys, so here's another look. Today's look is actually similar to what I wore yesterday, but you didn't see that because I was away for 2 days. So I'm wearing my autumnal BYOP, which I normally use for my brows because I have the shade Nowhere and the shade Losers Club. Nowhere is from the Christmas Eve palette from Wooden's Eye, and this one is from the Shroud Cosmetics and Halloween palette. And I use that in my brows. I think it's a really nice brow shade for me right now. And I'm using that with the Super Look Brow Glue from Maybelline. Then I have my Catrice Grip to Last Eyeshadow Primer, which is my current main primer until I use it up, which I don't think is gonna take that long because, like, I can't really see where I am with this one, but I think I'm like halfway, or maybe less than halfway done with this, and I haven't used it all that many times. And then I'm using a couple shades from this palette, like all of this palette is on my eyes. So I have the shade Air from the Legend of Korra palette. No, Airbending, sorry. Airbending from this palette. Then, so that's all in my crease. And then in the outer part of the crease is the shade Nowhere from Christmas Eve. I also did similar look, but with this brown and then this red. It looks kind of similar in the crease for me, so I can switch things up if I want to. I think I'm gonna recreate this look one more time in a couple days because I really want to use it up, like the shade Nowhere. And I'm so close at hitting pan on a couple of shades in this palette, so I would love to kind of incorporate this a couple more times to maybe hit a couple pans and get closer to using this one up. But for matte shades, it's just the yellow and the kind of gray that looks more brown on me with this, with the yellow. Then I have the Cleona Shine On Shimmer Primer. And I have 3 shimmer shades on my face. So I have this shade, which is from Makeup Beauty Shop, and it's called Wrath. And it's from the 7 Hours Incense collection, and I'm so close to hitting pan on this. Maybe I am already at the pan, but I'm not fully sure, so I have to use it one more time to be sure. And yeah, since I'm so close, I kind of want to do it. And I love orange looks. And again, I can kind of utilize what is happening with my hair. I can also utilize this shade. Then, so that's in the second half of the lid. Then in the first half of the lid, I have this shade, which is Creamsicle Hollow from Touch of Glam Beauty, which is part of my, which is just so beautiful, and it looks so sparkly, and I've been loving it. I used it yesterday, and I absolutely fell in love, so I needed to use it today. And then in my inner corner, I have this shade, which is from Makeup Beauty Shop, and it's called Starlit, I believe. And it has also a really nice flip. It's like green gold. Obviously it looks really gold in this like with those shades. And then I have this white waterline pencil from Wooden's Eye. This is the Salmone gel liner in the shade 11, and this is all I have left. I don't know if you can even see that, and it actually broke at the base, so I have to be very careful, and I really have only this little amount, so a couple more uses. And this one is an empty. Then I have the Catrice Glam and Dull Volume Mascara that I'm using every day. I have my Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10, also using that every day, so that's not a surprise. Then I have this Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peachy, or Peaches, Peach. Again, not a surprise. I'm really doing my best to use it up. Highlighter is my Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette, and I'm mixing the shade Milky Way with this one, which I think is Infinity. But also I get these shades mixed up because I don't have the shade names anywhere. There was just like tiny little plastic sheet inside, but I don't really know where I've lost it. And then for my lips, I have the Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade Chestnut Perfection. It's the shade number 11. And then Maybelline Vanilla Ink lipstick in the shade 15 Peachy. And this is how it looks like. So I think it's a really pretty look. It's very autumnal, it's very cutesy. It doesn't take me a long time to create, which is amazing because I didn't have that much time. And I think I'm gonna wear it to work one of these days. Again, just to get another use for these and maybe a couple bands. So let me know what you think about this one. And I think this was the last look of this collection. So I hope you've enjoyed all the looks you've seen. Vote down below which one was your favorite. And I hope you've had a wonderful day, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. Hi guys, so here's another look. Today I used mostly my Salem Witch City palette from Nomad because I'm currently still kind of like going through it and testing it a bit before my monthly haul. So for my brows, I've used the shade Nowhere from the Christmas Eve palette, and then I used also the shade Devil's Book from the Salem, and I think it matches my hair really nicely. Like I feel like it's a really good shade match. Then I have the Maybelline Superlock Brow Glue that I like to use. My eyeshadow primer is the Catrice Insta Bright Serum Concealer in the shade 001N that I've been using lately. It really makes the colors pop because it's more like a skin toned color, so it really cancels out all the like discoloration on your lids. And since it's a little bit thicker, drier concealer, it works nicely as an eye primer. Then the first shade I'm using in the like inner part is the Haunted Happenings shade, this matte orange. Then I have Hocus Pocus in the outer part. I have a little bit of the shade Witch City as a liner, and I'm using the shade Salem Commons, this one, on the lower lash line. And then for shimmers, I've used my Shine On Shimmer Primer from Cleonet. And then I'm using Ropes Mansions, this one in the outer part. Is that how it's called? Yeah, Ropes Mansion in the outer part. In the center, I have Harvest Moon. This one in the inner part of the lid, I have Witching Hour, which I think you can see I've used quite a bit. Actually, I have a little bit of a dip here in this like top part over here. And then in the inner corner, I'm actually using a shade from my Blend Bunny and Lens palette. And it's the shade Bepis. This one, this shimmery one. I'm trying to hit a pan on this shade, so that's what I'm using. Then I have the Revolution Streamline Eyeliner Pencil in the shade Orange in my waterline. Then I'm using the Catrice Glam and Doll Volume Mascara. I have Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade Tan. There's a good windowing happening. Oh, it makes me very happy. Then I have the Revolution Fast Base Blush in the shade Peach. As always, that's kind of what I'm using all the time. I have the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette, and I'm mixing the shade, I think this one is Supernova, this orangey one, with this pink one called Aurora, which I think is a really beautiful cheek combo. And I think it fits this look really nicely. And then I have the Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner in the shade The Perfect Shade, which is the shade number 10, and the Maybelline Vanilla Ink Lipstick in the shade Peachy, which is shade number 15. I've been using this one a lot lately because I'm trying to see if I can use it up because it's getting a little bit, not expired, but it's definitely closer to that, and I don't want to risk anything. So that's what I'm using, and that's the entire look. So let me come a little closer so that you can see it from close up. I do really enjoy this look. I've been wearing a lot of these like orangey or peachy purples a lot. Because I'm kind of panning shades like that, but also because I really like this combination and I think it's very fall appropriate. So yeah. To be honest, with these shades, I think the oranges, because I have mostly the orange in the center, and the orange shade in this palette is the least sparkly of all of them. Like you can see that the other ones shine really nicely, but the orange doesn't really do that. I think that's what's slightly not like ruining the eye look, but it's a little bit like I would love it to shine more. And because the center and the most attention is on this orange that doesn't shine that much, I'm missing a little bit of sparkle here. But still, it's a really pretty look, and I'm really enjoying this palette a lot. But that's for this one, and I think this was the last look of this video, so I hope you've enjoyed it. Vote down below which was your favorite, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. Bye guys!